Schindler's List and The Fugitive are two 1993 films that turned 30 this year. To celebrate, I wanted to do a video on both films. How despite both being deemed classics and, in my personal opinion, masterpieces, I don't think that they would be successful though if they came out today. Before diving into the why, let's talk briefly about both films. The Fugitive came out on August 6th of 1993 to positive reviews from both critics and audiences alike. It grossed $368,875,855 worldwide off of a $44 million budget. What's especially impressive is that it was able to make so much money despite being based off of a TV show that was 26 years old as of when it came out. The other thing is, it was able to score 7 Academy Award nominations, which included picture, cinematography, sound, film editing, sound effects editing, original score, and 1 win for Best Supporting Actor by the great Tommy Lee Jones. Truly a fantastic performance. So to say The Fugitive was a success would be an understatement. Later that year, Schindler's List came out in limited release on December 15th of 1993 and slowly went wide during award season. It grossed $322,161,245 worldwide off of a $22 million budget. It was also nominated for a whopping 12 Academy Award nominations, which it won for Picture, Director, Original Score, Film Editing, Art Direction, Cinematography, and Adapted Screenplay. Other nominations included Actor in a Leading Role for Liam Neeson, Supporting Actor for Ralph Fiennes, Sound, Makeup, and Costume Design. Both The Fugitive and Schindler's List were successes. However, I do not think either would be successful if they came out today. Tom Cruise aside, today's blockbusters aren't actor-director driven in terms of box office. It's very much so IP based. Think Disney, Marvel, DC, A24. All brands that get audiences to the theater. Sure, one could argue that The Fugitive does have IP since it's based on a TV show. However, it would be nearly 60 years at this point since the TV show came out. So much of that audience that grew up watching that show aren't even alive. Movies based on TV shows in general don't tend to make much. Think Chips, The Lone Ranger, Dark Shadows, Veronica Mars, etc. I know. One could mention 21 Jump Street. However, that came out at the height of Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum being able to get people to the theaters on their names alone. Similar to The Fugitive, it was an outlier. It came out at the right month during the right time for all involved. People still see action films, but they usually see the $200 million family-friendly superhero films. No middle-budget action films geared towards adult audiences. Pre-pandemic? Maybe. Now, studios more than likely to not greenlit it, or just dump it on streaming. It would still be critically acclaimed by critics. Audiences? Hard to say. With Schindler's List, because Spielberg usually works with Universal, I think it would still go to theaters. Would it be successful in theaters? I don't think so. Steven Spielberg's box office has waned a lot recently. Look at West Side Story. The Fabelmans as another example, which really didn't do well, unfortunately. I also think that in a post-pandemic world, many audiences would wait for Schindler's List to be streaming. It's a shame, but that's the reality. After all, 20 years after Schindler's List, we got 12 Years a Slave, which came out and won Best Picture, beloved by critics. However, it wasn't even close to being as successful. $56,671,993 domestically and $131,061,209 for worldwide gross of $187,733,202. Nearly $135 million less than a film that came out 20 years prior. And that's, again, not even including inflation. So, yeah. Look, serious films, unfortunately, they just don't make as much money anymore. Bottom line. I think it's in large part because audiences want escapism from reality, not see things from the past that were horrifying, especially in post-2020 world. Many audiences' films get dropped on streaming and or are just merely moderate successes. Because another factor is that for many, theaters are for event films. Films that scream must-see on the big screen due largely to spectacle. Schindler's List and The Fugitive both wouldn't qualify as event films today. That said, out of curiosity on my YouTube channel, I created a poll asking my subscribers if they would see Schindler's List, The Fugitive in theaters, streaming, physical media, or sailing the seven seas. 24 people voted, which I know isn't many, but of those 24, 19 said theaters, 1 said streaming, 2 said physical media, and 2 said sailing the 7 seas. Obviously, this was a small poll. I know that. But it does show how only 79% of this small poll said that they would see in theaters. Still, I think Schindler's List and The Fugitive are timeless films that were box office successes because of when they came out and how the industry was at the time. Now, they wouldn't make so much, unfortunately. Still, again, both are masterpieces that get my highest recommendation, and it's why I would personally give both films a... But yeah, guys, I know this video was different than my usual kind of videos that I do, so I'm definitely going to be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this video, as well as how you guys liked The Fugitive and Schindler's List. I will say The Fugitive, it is one of my favorite action films. I absolutely adore this film. I could watch it on repeat. It is that great. The world building, the character development, the action scenes, the in-camera effects, James Newton Howard's score, Harrison Ford's performance, Tommy Lee Jones' performance. The ensemble cast in general is great. How Chicago feels like a living, breathing character. There's a lot to appreciate in this film. It's a masterpiece. Highly, highly recommend it to own all Blu-ray. To be honest, I can see this getting a 4K transfer, and once it does, it's going to look even better, but it still looks really good on Blu-ray. And then, of course, Schindler's List, I mean, it's on 4K, and I gotta say, it looks outstanding on 4K. It really does. Some of the best cinematography you'll ever see. It's stunning. It's stunning, but at the same time, with how it captures all the events, it's incredible, man. It really is. This is one of those films that I don't watch too often, but when I do, man, it really affects me. And it's one of those things where after watching it, usually it's like, I'll watch it once every 3-4 years, because anytime I think of Schindler's List, I immediately am just like, oh man, that movie's so sad, it's so emotional. It's a gut punch, it really is. But at the same time, it's one of my favorite films. I think it's one of those films that everyone needs to watch at least once, in my personal opinion. I can't help but cry towards the end now. Like the last 2 viewings, I've cried towards the end, which is something that didn't really happen before. But the last 2 times, man, that even just thinking about it, it's a great ending. It really is. But yeah, very well acted. Ralph Fiennes, outstanding job as Eamon Goth, and then of course Oscar Schindler, Liam Neeson gives his best performance hands down. Ben Kingsley is also great. It's one of those films that again has to be seen. It's in my top 10 favorite films of all time, and yeah, I absolutely love it. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on those 2 films. Again, want to hear your guys' thoughts down below on those 2 films, as well as just my analysis of sorts down below. And guys, as always, thank you very much for watching with the subscription, notification bell, follow me down Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.